object. Now, here he is, ladies and gentlemen, the man with the bow tie, Jonathan Ross.
Thank you. Thank you, and welcome to another edition of The Last Resort. And what a corker of a programme we've got for you tonight, missus. We've got music from Lyle Lovett, I'll be having a chat with Martin Amis, and later on we'll be meeting Mr. Harry Dean Stanton. But as I said, that's... You want to wait for it a bit later, maybe? As I said, it's later on the programme. First, I can't wait to see how much John Benson has scored in our fantastic Last Resort Darts Challenge. I'd just like to explain to you here that on tonight's programme, the Last Resort Darts Challenge, every guest and every entertainer is going to be given 3 darts, and the person with the highest score wins a fantastic prize. What is the prize, John?
It's a mystery object.
I think we're going to have to put John back on the hormones, aren't we? Now, John, what did you score, John?
43.
43. Fine, for a man of your age, that's remarkable. Okay. And 1, yes, I'm going for Books. Okay. Oh,
80.
Impressive start, I like to think. Oh.
And 1 is 90.
You know, I knew I should have stayed sober before the show, I really do. John, do you want to put it on the board there?
OK.
Fine, and let's see if my first guest can beat your remarkable score of 43. Because he seems to be pretty good at everything else. He's the producer, director, star and writer of the hit movie Hollywood Shuffle. And he's also got a nifty way of raising money. Please say hello to Robert Townsend. What was that shameless attempt to win at least one member of the audience over before you even start there? Giving out cheques before the programme.
No, well, first of all, thank you for having me on. No, I don't want to, it's not a plug. No, I just wanted to give you...
Oh, it's not a plug?
It's not a plug. It's not a plug. Really, it's not a plug to Hollywood Shuffle, my new movie. No, but I just wanted to give that to you.
Oh, thank you, Robert. Yeah, OK. I'll look at it later.
OK.
That's fairly blatant, actually. Let's talk about the movie, seeing as you did just come on and ruthlessly expose it to millions of viewers there. Why did you
have millions of viewers?
Yeah, well, not tonight. Not anymore, I don't think, after the start of the programme so far. Why did you make this film, Hollywood Shuffle?
Because as an actor in Hollywood, I found myself frustrated. Because in Hollywood, I found that I was forced to play, like, pimps, muggers, and crooks and stuff like that, and I didn't have a chance to play the other kinds of parts. And so, like, when you play... The first time I played a pimp, I thought it was great. I was like, I'm playing a pimp, wow! Pimp 29, I was like, damn, another pimp.
But the clothes are great. The pimp's clothes are the best in show.
I mean, yeah, the first time I saw Pimp's clothes, but then after Pimp 39, like I said, I was tired. And then, too, I never wanted to play a slave on TV. You know, my mother wouldn't be proud. You know, it's like, my son's on TV, they're gonna whip his ass. You know, so I was like, you know, I couldn't play those parts. And so Hollywood Shuffle is about the struggle that I go through as an actor.
So how did you finance the movie? I know you had a novel way of doing that.
Well, first I used money from different movies I had worked on, and then when I ran out of that money, I used credit cards. And this is the truth. I called around to all the banks in the country, and I got, like, credit cards from New York, Chicago, Detroit. So I got, like, $40,000 in credit, and I charged everything.
That's an awful lot of money to raise. I mean, but cheap for a movie, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, for a movie, yeah, I mean, it was a $100,000 budget, but the average film in Hollywood costs like $5–6 million easy.
And how much money did you make back on it? Was it a success?
We did almost $8 million, and then here it played at the Metro and ran for 10 weeks, and now it's at the Cannon Theater.
So it did that well. You don't really need to come on and ruthlessly plug it like you just did, do you? Let's be honest, Robert. I mean, let's, you know.
That's a good cassette, man.
But let's have a look at the clip anyway. We got a clip from the movie.
We got a clip,
people.
We got a clip. Okay.
Yeah, and it's going to come up about now.
Should I set it up?
No, don't bother. Let's just watch.
Okay, right here.
What we're looking for is an Eddie Murphy type.
We want somebody who can act like Eddie Murphy from head to toe. That's what we want.
Someone who can dress like Eddie Murphy, to look like Eddie Murphy, to be Eddie Murphy, to give him the actor himself a Murphy-ectomy, to have a Murphy-like quality, Murphy-esque, to be Murphonic. Okay.
Shut up.
Hello, kids. It's your friend, Mr. Roberts.
Me.
There he is. He is the one we want.
me. I don't want to be Eddie Murphy. I just want to be me. I just want to...
Yes.
Get the fuck out of here.
That's what we're looking for.
Thank you! Just calm down. Lovely. Thank you. Let me ask you, Robert, what would you have done if it had failed then? Because if you'd raised that much money on credit, where would you be now if it hadn't have been a hit?
I'd be in jail. We'd be doing this interview from prison. We're talking to Robert Townsend. Hey, how you guys doing out there?
How real was it? Because there's one scene in the movie where you're shooting a film, the character you play is shooting a movie, and the white director comes up and says, be more black, bug your eyes more, and stick your ass out, or something like that. I mean, is that kind of thing actually happening to you?
Well, you know, it's funny. I had this director that was from, well, I don't want to say where he's from, but he was from Canada. And he was trying to tell me how to be a pimp, and he had this accent. He was like, no, 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 Robert, it's all wrong. You get out of the Cadillac, you smack the prostitute. Walk like a pimp, watch me, Robert. And so I went through this whole thing, so it really happened. It's based on my life.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? There was a period in the 70s, I think, when there were a lot of movies starring black actors, the kind of blaxploitation period. Now, do you think that this might just be a return to that kind of trend? I know you directed this one, it's not the same.
Well, no. My film is really about, you know, dreams. You know, Hollywood Shuffle is about an actor who is denied his dream. Like, when I was a kid, I used to love swashbuckler movies. And so when I got to Hollywood, you know, like, I used to love Humphrey Bogart. And Humphrey Bogart talked tough. That's right, sweetheart. Get over there, sit down. I'm talking to you, sweetheart. That's right, shut up. And then I never noticed the black people. The black people came out like this. You want your luggage, Mr. Jenkins?
Like Stephen Fetchit and do like that.
Yeah, so I thought when I got to Hollywood, I said, you know, like, I wanted to be in the swashbuckler movies. And they said, well, look at the butler role. And so I was offended, so I said, I'll make a movie about it.
Do you think it'll help any? I mean, you've made this movie, and obviously it must have earned some respect just by, because money talks, if it's made that kind of money. Do you think that, I mean, maybe it will help other black actors get works outside of kind of stereotypical roles?
Well, you know, all of Hollywood, I think, you know, saw the movie, studio executives, producers, directors, and I think it will have an effect because it's about something that's real. You know, all actors are stereotyped, and I just happen to be black, and my story is from my point of view.
Now I know you earlier you saw us playing darts, and you're probably very excited about the chance of taking part.
I was like, I couldn't wait.
Well, do we head over to the Oki and
okay.
See what you score there, Robert? Just, there you go.
Because I know there's a sport to this, art.
Now, have you played before?
I've never played before. This is my first time.
Yeah, you're just saying that, aren't you? Okay. You've got 43 to beat, big John Benson, and he gets very angry, don't you, John?
Very,
when people beat him, so I don't want to put you off your stroke at all, but you might want to bear that in mind. When you're ready.
Okay.
Live TV.
17.
17.
That's promising.
Yeah! You're making me nervous. That's what it is. I should have got 20.
I'm sorry, Robert.
John, you're thinking dirty thoughts, man. Stop it. Thinking about sex.
It's an interesting stance you got there. That was...
Wow,
oh, come on.
20 is...
Yeah, oh yeah, Robert. You've never played before.
I've never played before.
37 so far.
Okay, here we go. Chant. Robert.
Oh, yeah, that's nice. Where were you when I needed you? Or John Benson needed you, eh? God. John, what's that score?
How is that? 5-7-57.
Oh, remarkable. Robert, well done. Come on, sit down. Oh. Well, you're in the lead. You're looking good for the big prize tonight.
What's the big prize?
John, what is the big prize?
John, what is the big prize?
A mystery object.
Did you make it yourself, John, or what is this? Well, let's talk about Eddie Murphy for a second, because you spoofed him in the movie there. And I know you directed his last film, the concert film.
Right, I directed Eddie Murphy Raw. He saw Hollywood Shuffle and loved it, but I was nervous because when he came to the screening, he didn't know that scene was in the movie. And so when he got there with 12 bodyguards, and then the scene came on the screen and everybody stopped laughing. And then the bodyguard goes, Eddie, that's you, man. And so everybody got quiet, and then Eddie dug the movie, and he started laughing, and then he said, I want you to direct Raw. And Raw, you know, was a major hit in the States. It grossed like over $50 million.
Yeah, big hit. That must have been one of his brighter bodyguards, I would imagine. Would that be right? I've just got time. I want to ask you why you're over here at the moment, because you're over here for a reason, not just to plug the video ruthlessly.
No, I mean, well, you know, I mean, when I got here, they told me it was open, you know, it's going to be released, you know.
No, I'm not. That's not a criticism at all.
Well, I mean, I didn't want to say that, you know, July 15th
let's get to the point. Let's talk about why you're over here anyway.
No, I'm just joking. No, I'm here for Freedom Fest. It's Nelson Mandela's 70th birthday, and he's a... And see, a lot of people, I'm glad you guys are educated about Nelson Mandela, because a lot of people don't know. I mean, you know, like you were saying earlier, journalists were calling the hotel saying, is he there yet? You know, and so...
It's only because they've got all his albums, probably. That's why they're clapping.
Yeah, right. No, but he, you know, he is against the apartheid, and he's been in prison for 25 years since, you know, 1962. And tomorrow, all these artists from Whitney Houston to Sting to Phil Collins to Dire Straits are coming together to do this massive 10-hour concert at Wembley to celebrate Nelson Mandela and hopefully, you know, bring an end to the apartheid and make people more aware of it.
It's not a charity, it's not sending money, it's a kind of like raising people's consciousness of what's going on.
Exactly. You know, it's going to be telecast all over the world, and I'm like one of the hosts with Dennis Miller and Paula Yates.
Well, I'll watch Dennis anyway.
Oh!
No, I'll watch Paul as well. Listen, thanks for coming. It's on BBC Two tomorrow, but I won't tell you, I won't plug another channel. Listen, Robert, thanks for coming. Good luck tomorrow. Thanks.
Is that it for me? Is that...
8 minutes, all you get. That's all you get. That's all you get. That's all you get. Come on. That's all you get.
No.
Robert, if you don't behave, we're going to take your name out of the dance challenge.
Oh, okay.
Okay, before we move on, here's a little puzzle for you. We're going to show you a familiar spot of the Last Resort studio, photographed from an unusual angle. See if you can guess what it is. Misleading, confusing, perhaps, but becoming clearer. Did you guess it, viewers? Yes, it's the studio floor. Okay, well, how can you follow that, hey? I don't know. Maybe with some music, and we've got a singer-songwriter with a unique style all his own. Please give a warm Last Resort welcome to Lyle Lovett. There's no disrespect intended by the hurl over the show.
Daddy too, she loves to tell me she hates the things I do. She loves to lie beside me almost every night. Well, she's no lady, she's my wife. The preacher asked her, and she said, I do. The preacher asked me, and she said, yes, he does too. The preacher said, I pronounce you 99 to life. Son, she's no lady, she's your wife. And I can't remember how I met her. Seems like she's always just been a hanging here off my right arm. And I can't remember how I ever thought that I just couldn't live without a woman's charm. And even though she loves the smell of French perfume, and even though she walks around in high-heel shoes, well, all I know is I'm the one who pays her price. Man, she's no lady, she's my wife. She's always just been a hanging here off my right arm. And I can't remember how I ever thought that I just couldn't live without a woman's charm. Yeah, she hates my mama, she hates my her daddy too. She loves to tell me how much she hates the things I do. She loves to lie beside me almost every night. Well, she's no lady, she's my wife. Well, she's no lady, she's my wife.
Thank you very much. Splendid song. Now, I could see you could hardly concentrate on your singing with the excitement knowing the dance challenge was coming up here. Do you play dance much?
Well, I never have, really.
Yeah, everyone's saying that. There's the ockey. Come up to the ockey.
You throw these like a baseball?
John, you're not doing your job. Please, come on.
Oh, what?
Yeah, God. It's back to the sale of the century for you next week. OK, Lyle, when you're ready. Take your time.
15. No, times 2 is 30.
Yes. Eagle-Eye Benson there. You have all 3, Lyle. What's this here?
We'll pass on that one.
That's all right. How condescending can you get, eh?
And 1.
31. Well, congratulations. There's a future for you in dance playing as well. Thank you very much. Lyle Lovett. Well, it's time for us to take a short break, but just because the commercial's on, it doesn't mean the fun has to stop, because I have another little puzzle for you. How many words can you think of? And just to get you started, here's 14 you can have for nothing. We'll be back in a couple of minutes with Harry Dean Stanton and Martin Amis. And lots more words. Back in a bit. We can't really... I could have dropped that. What are we going to do? That's fine, I think that's fine. We'll just keep it tight on Martin. But don't cut any. Just transfer it. Yeah. Okay. I wanted to leave the amnesty because that was important, I thought. Okay, fine. Let me show you something here. Look, this was sent in by a viewer on the programme. Look at this. Now, it's a suit, isn't that nice? Stylish and practical, something to wear at the weekend. This is obviously one of our viewers who hasn't quite worked out that the size I'm on the TV screen isn't the real me. Look at that. There you go. Mum, please. But hasn't the dance match got you on the edge of your seats? Hasn't it? You didn't see the suit? You didn't? Well, you see, those that don't ask don't get, those that ask don't want, or something like that. What's the expression? You want to have a look at it? There you are, madam. That is lovely, isn't it? Oh, isn't that lovely?
Have you got a dolly to go with it?
I beg your pardon. No, I haven't. Where are you from, then? Are you from nearby, or?
East.
And did you have tickets, or did you just bluff your way in?
We bluffed out.
Well, I thought so, yeah. OK. Well, you've seen the suit. I was doing it on the move, then, wasn't I? Thanks. Huh? I can't hear you. Oh, on the front, yeah. Yeah. Gotcha.
10 seconds. Give me applause when you hear the music, please.
Please. you. Welcome back. And as I should have mentioned earlier, proper nouns don't count, of course. Now, all this talk of words allows me to move smoothly on to our next guest. And seeing he's one of Britain's foremost writers, how better to introduce him than using his own writing? Let me read you from one of his books here. His face is cramped and incredulous, also knowing, with a smirk of collusion in his bent smile. He gives me the creeps. Know me again, would you? I once shouted across the street and gave him a V sign and a warning fist. He stood his ground and stared. This writer's name, they tell me, is Martin Amis. Never heard of him. Do you know his stuff at all? Well, boys and girls, I'm afraid I do. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Martin Amis. Fine game of darts in the evening. I believe you play a bit, don't you?
I do a lot.
First honest man this evening, I should imagine.
But I don't know if I can cope with the pressure.
Yeah. I'll stand back.
I'm a nervous wreck when I play in my kitchen. I think I'll go for the bull.
Oh. Not quite. 8. And 1.
Jesus.
19.
And which gives us a total, John, of
27.
Pretty quickly, thank you very much. Well done, Martin. So John, what's the top score at the moment then, John?
5-7, 57.
Wonderful stuff. You've been moonlighting again, haven't you? Martin, darts, coincidentally, I believe there's a character in the book you're working on at the moment who's a dart player. Is that right?
Yeah, the villain of my next novel is a darts player who's hoping to become a pro. He's set up to be the murderer in this millennial murder story, not using a dart as the murder weapon, but
He'd have to be a bit better than you were then, really, wouldn't he? But why a dart player? Why?
Well, darts is this. I've never seen or heard about or read about a cruder sport than darts. I mean, I admire the skill of those huge guys who go out there and do it. But there's absolutely nothing involved in darts.
Oh, I find that a bit something I disagree with there.
Well, I mean, in any other sport, there's some other element involved as opposed to sort of thin air and this little 20-gram skewer that they throw through the air. It's a sort of, I think it's the revival of darts is a wonderful image of what England does after having an empire. Concentrates on its darts.
Spear throwing, basically, isn't it? Yeah, back to basics. Let me talk about the books that you have written, because that one's still not out. I noticed that in a couple of your recent pieces, America plays a very important part. What is it about America that interests you?
Well, America is really at the forefront of history. America is where the real modern action is, to quote an American writer. We're convulsed in some later stage of we've gone off the boil as a country, but America is where you can see the future unfolding.
And is it a nice future to see, do you think?
Well, it looks at the moment as though it could go down the tubes very fast indeed. But I imagine things won't go in a straight line, and after Reagan there'll be some kind of liberal revival in America. But
now, didn't you spend some time on the road with Reagan before he was even elected?
Yes, I did. When he was campaigning for the nomination in '79, and I was on the campaign plane, we all sat in the back, and Reagan was up front in the sort of first-class section, where they seem to spend all their time calming him down afterwards and then get him going for the next stop.
Winding him up.
Vitamin injections and
slap
him around, you know, to wake him up.
What do you make of the new guys? What do you make of Bush and Dukakis, do you think?
I like Dukakis very much, and when everyone says he's dull and a wimp and a nerd and so on, and he's boring. I mean, boring is something you might say about an actor, but since when do we say politicians are boring? Of course they're boring. They're meant to be boring. In fact, I could do with a lot of boredom from the White House for a little while.
Do you think he's got a chance then? Do you think he'll get in?
A very good chance, because I think Bush will collapse when all this is made clear about his connections in Central America, and maybe the whole thing will fall apart.
Going back to writing, one of the other differences between England and America, I've noticed, is that writers in America become celebrities. Whether they chase after it or whether it's just given to them. Is that something that appeals to you, that sort of fame and recognition?
No, I think it's very hard to be a writer in America because of the fame. When success happens to an American writer, he has a new life. When it happens to an English writer, he gets a new filing cabinet and a slightly better typewriter and has lunch with his publisher and things like that. But Philip Roth, for instance, has written 5 novels about what it's like to be a successful American writer. It would be a excruciatingly dull book that talked about what it's like for a famous, so-called famous English writer. Nothing happens.
There's another American novelist who I know you met, Norman Mailer, and there's a famous quote where he referred you as Martin as that little wimp. I think. Now, what was behind that? Why did he?
Well, nothing more complicated. He just wanted to beat me up, I think. When he...
But normally he does it when he wants to, doesn't he?
Well, I think it's a bit all talk with Norman these days. The storming days are over.
Let me ask you about the newest paperback you have out, Einstein's Monsters, which all the short stories are concerned with nuclear weapons and nuclear war. What is it about that suddenly attracted your interest? Why have you written about that?
Well, with me, it was having children myself, and I think I'd blundered along like most people who were born after 1945, where we lived our lives under a desk, basically, and we had nuclear drills were part of our childhood, and we just thought the future could end at any time. And you blunder along in this intense present, and you don't really feel the past or the future. When you have children, your sense of time is restored, and you start to get concerned. I mean, it's funny that nuclear weapons are such a sort of unsexy subject. You have to almost apologize for bringing them up. But it is the big subject. I mean, the main issue of our time is not USA versus USSR. It's us versus nuclear weapons, because it contains all other subjects. I felt, I feel it's almost impossible to write about, and my attempt to write about it was with beginner's confidence. And now I feel I'm moving further and further away from it.
And now you're using, is this kind of a bomb book, London Fields, a new book, isn't it?
Well, yes, except I feel I've got to back away from it. The subject resists any kind of frontal assault for some reason. And no one's done it well yet. And it would be a fluke if I did it well. So I'm sort of backing off from it, really.
But it's still great for dinner parties, though, isn't it, Marty?
I'm afraid so.
OK. Listen, we've run out of time. It's what Cha-Cha's all about. Martin Amis, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks.
Thank you. Well, now, I'd like, of course, to move from nuclear weapons to more trivia. There's something I like to do every week in the show if I have time, and that is to go say hello, of course, to our resident house band, Steve Naive and the Playboys. Hello, Steve, how are you?
I'm fantastic.
Always a pleasure, never a chore. Boys, how are you this week?
Rotten.
Rotten? You looked a bit glum from over there, I must say. But don't worry, I have something which might cheer you up. I've got a little game I've set up for you. Yeah. A little game called What Happened Next. And what I'm going to do is show you part of a previous edition of The Last Resort, then stop the tape and ask you to guess what happened next. And hey, viewers, maybe you'd like to play this at home as well. Why don't you roll the tape? So, Elton, tell us what exactly you're going to be selling off when you have this auction in September.
Mostly everything I've accumulated in the last 20 years, really.
What about the album? There's a new album out, I believe?
There is a new album coming out called Red Stripes Back, yes.
Elton, are you feeling OK?
Actually, I'm feeling really hot.
There you go. Now, what happened next? I wonder. JJ, you sometimes turn up for rehearsals. What do you think happened next?
Well, I think Elton John's such a mega star. I think he probably came to plug his video.
No, that was Robert Townsend on the beginning of the show tonight. But you have been watching the show. Pete?
Ran out of time.
Ran out of time? No, that was Mel Brooks. Steve?
Spewed up over your jacket.
Close. Very close, but not quite, no. Steve Neve, maybe you have an idea.
I think Elton John spontaneously combusted.
Spontaneously combusted? Now, there's a thought. I wonder if Steve could be right. Why don't we see the rest of the tape? We don't have to carry on. We can stop the interview if you want. Oh, why, yes. Yes, Steve, you're right. And the MG Metro is on its way. Steve Nave and the Playboys.
3, 4.
OK, well, it's time to meet our final guest tonight, a man who not so long ago was known as one of Hollywood's finest character actors, one of those guys whose face you know but you can never put the name to. But ever since he appeared in Wim Wenders' film Paris, Texas, the former B-movie actor has become a big star. Please say hello to Mr. Harry Dean Stanton. Splendid outfit, by the way, Harry. Love the gear. Harry, I've been looking through a list of your films, and you've made something like 60-odd movies. It's incredible. And you've worked
65 or between 65 and 70, I suppose. And to be 39 years old, it's quite a feat.
Oh, wonderful. Now, there's one of the early ones which I like. I don't remember you from all of these, obviously, but The Wrong Man in 1956 with Henry Fonda, Anthony Quayle. Can you remember back what sort of parts you played in these early movies?
The Wrong Man?
Yeah, I've got a list of...
I wasn't in that movie.
Well, I hope you win some of these, because it's the only list I've got out here. What about The Proud Rebel with Alan Ladd in 58? Can you remember that one at all?
Yes, I remember that one.
I mentioned in the intro that you're known as a character actor. You were known. Did that
I don't know. Character actors always had, subjectively, has always had a stigma about it. I mean, the Gene Autry movies, these old guys, the sidekicks, character, you know, they never had sex, they never had a girlfriend, they never had anything. They were humiliated and kicked around. And
you didn't like that?
It's probably a personal problem I have.
What about Jack Nicholson? I see you worked with him here. If you were in this film, weren't you, The Missouri Breaks?
Missouri Breaks, yeah. We made another one that was never released, too, as a matter of fact.
Was it a good film, or...? What was Nicholson like?
I've known him for 25 years. We had a house together once, shared a house in Laurel Canyon in Hollywood.
A nice guy?
He's a toughie. He's good, multi-millionaire and businessman and talented, and he's a good friend.
Still makes the movies as well. I mentioned Paris, Texas, and you also in Repo Man recently, and they were kind of the films that sort of launched you from being the character actor, I know you don't like the term, into being a kind of bigger star. Why do you think those films in particular caught on?
Good writing, good cinematography, good score, Ry Cooder's score, and Wim Wenders, a good director, and me.
Why are you over here? It's got something to do with Ry Cooder, hasn't it?
Yes, he's singing at, he's playing at Wembley Monday and Tuesday, and I'll probably sing with him, but it's a surprise. Don't mention it.
Because singing now is something you're doing quite often, isn't it? It's a new string to your bow.
Yeah, I'm more and more into. I've always been a singer since I was just a wee child, and. Is this show going all right?
Yeah, it's going fine, don't we? We're not keeping you up, though, are we, Harry? No. I wouldn't want to think Let me ask you, Bob Dylan, you were in a film with Bob Dylan here. I can't remember which one. Which one?
Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid.
That's the one, you remember that one. What was he like? Did you sing with him at all, or...?
We did, as a matter of fact. He even after we came back to L.A., we became good friends, and... as a matter of fact, we were jogging one time. Sam Peckinpah, rest his soul, he was director, and we were running about a mile away, and Sam was shooting. We ran into the shot, but we were about a mile away, I guess, and so we came back finally, and Sam said, "You two guys ruined the shot." And I said, "Well, I was trying to catch up with Bob to tell him that he's in the shot." He threw a knife at me, literally.
Who did, Bob or Sam Peckinpah?
Sam Peckinpah.
I can understand it from Sam.
Yeah.
A nice guy? Only when you didn't jog into his shop. Weren't you down to play Hugh Hefner at one time?
Bob Fosse cast me to do that, yeah, and but I don't think Hugh Hefner wanted me to play him. Was it Cliff Robertson that he ended up playing?
He did the part, didn't he?
They paid me off.
Why didn't they want you? What do you think it was?
I was, I don't know, too interesting, I guess.
Do you believe in that kind of technique?
No, just my method. I play myself as much as I possibly can.
And it works, doesn't it? What about Sean Penn?
Sorry, Jonathan, we're going to use this one now.
You're going to use that one? You've been dying to get on this show since the beginning, haven't you?
There you go.
Yeah. You see, we've really busted the budget on the sound department, haven't we, today? Let me ask you about Sean Penn and Madonna, because...
just change it over.
You're back again?
Yeah, put it there instead.
It's almost like the show's over and we've all gone home, isn't it? It's... You ever had one of those days, Harry? Don't worry about it. They can lip read, at least. They can do that. Let me ask you about...
Just leave this in.
What, the material?
Which one did I talk about?
Talking about... Let me ask you about Sean Penn and Madonna here. Oh, yeah. Boy, I'm glad I came tonight, aren't you? The Sean Penn and Madonna, I know you're friends with both
having
them.
a good time?
Yeah, I'm having quite a good time, but I've had better, Howie. I've got to be honest with you. Let me ask you about Sean Penn and Madonna for the 5th time. You're friends with them, I think.
Yeah, I love them both, actually, and I know they've had a hard time. I mean, it's against insurmountable odds. They've tried to keep a marriage together and keep the media photographers at bay, and Madonna's wonderful. She works hard, swims 100 laps a day and jogs, and is trying to be a serious actress, and is, and she'll do it. And Sean is complex, and...
Well, complex is one way of putting it. And Howie, what about his stuff in jail? I mean, do you think that he's benefited from that experience, being put inside?
What'd you say?
Him being put in jail. You know, Sean was in jail for a while. You weren't in that movie either.
What did he get in jail for?
I think he punched a photographer, didn't he?
He punched 2 or 3 different people, I think. But he's better now. He's learning. Am I falling asleep here? I feel like I'm going.
Got some
I had
water or
2
something?
shots of tequila before I came on tonight, and
that's obviously what got to the mic. Let me ask you about
Robert Townsend. I mean, it's hard. He's a hard act to follow, man.
He certainly is.
I love his movie too, by the way.
But you still don't let me get a word in, like Robert. I mean, so, let me ask you about you're getting on now. I mean, in the nicest possible way. You're
I'm what?
Do you ever think of retiring, Howie?
No.
Not even once? Not even in the last 5 minutes or something like that, you know? I know I have.
No.
Let's talk about
I could sit here and talk all night.
I think we're going to probably wind up doing that.
I've been more comfortable in England this time than I've ever been in my whole life, so I must be maturing on some level of it.
In the same way that Sean Penn probably is, isn't it?
Yeah, he's maturing too. He's learning.
Listen, you've probably been watching the show with excitement, on the edge of your seat.
I think I'm a little nervous, too. I just realized I have some tension.
You know a good way of getting rid of tension, Howie?
How's that?
A game of darts. Why don't we head over and see if you score anything on the darts tonight? Now, what do we have to beat here, John?
5-7-57, John.
5 and the 7.
5-7-57.
Yeah. That's one score. He just says it twice.
What does it say on the darts?
You know what it says on the darts, Harry.
It says shit on these
darts. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? They're the only ones we could get at the last minute, honestly.
Should I leave my coat on?
Well, people have individual styles, and we respect that, Harry. Whatever you can work with.
Well, it's only fair to leave the coat on because the others didn't take their coats off. 20. Shit. It says shit on these darts. It really does. Excuse me. Was this censored, by the way?
I don't know. Frankly, I've given up tonight, Harry. This is...
Wait, I'm going to get a triple 20.
Damn. Oh, it is a 25-45.
So, John, the winner tonight?
I won!
No, you didn't. Robert? Congratulations. Robert won the prize. Do you want to bring the prize on there, Harriet? Come on, bring it on.
What is the prize?
It's a bottle of sherry and a packet of cigars. Robert, enjoy it in good health.
Oh, thank you.
Who won the prize now? Wait a minute.
Robert did.
He got 57. What did I get?
You just weren't in that film. Don't worry about it.
Oh, he got 45? Robert won?
Hey, Harry's going to sing for us tonight, aren't you, Harry?
Yeah.
So if you want to go...
Call the band.
You go take
the abused children. Here we go.
No, we don't call the band that. Over you go. Harry... Good Lord. I mean, really. OK, don't hit it yet, because I'm going to say thanks for watching. See you again next week.
Everybody's
maybe. And let's hear Harry Dean Stanton. And what are you going to call yourself? The Abused Amigos? Something like that? Something saucy. Thanks for watching. Listen to Harry.
Come on and learn to dance. Bully, bully. Bully, bully. Bully, bully. Bully, bully. Bully, bully. Watch it now, watch it now, watch it now. Here it comes. Here it is. Matty told Hattie that the thing to do was get you someone willing to pull the wool with you. Bully, bully. Bully, bully. Bully, bully. Bully, bully. Bully, bully. Matty told Hattie the thing to do is get you someone willing to pull the wool with you. Bully, bully. Bully, bully. Bully, bully. Bully, bully. Bully, bully. Patty told Matty, let's don't take no chance. Let's not be a seven. Come on and learn to dance. Bully, bully. Bully, bully. Bully, bully. Bully, bully. Where's that man? Matty told Hattie about a thing she saw had two big horns and a woolly jaw. Bully, bully, bully. Bully, bully. Bully, bully. Bully, bully. Watch it now, watch it now, watch it. Here it comes.
Thank you, everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much indeed. We hope you've enjoyed the evening. Have a safe journey home and good night to all. Thank you once again.